All right, this is Sports for Real. Um, Not a whole lot going on in the sports world right now. We all just getting over this unsuper contest between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Not a whole lot of fallout. All the surprise went out the window after the game was over with. The question is, what will teams do now? Because everybody gets the chance to hit the reset button. Even the Eagles. They'll probably be the odds-on favorite coming into the season next year to win it. But I don't think so. It's going to be a lot of changes rules-wise, and teams are going to make adjustments to try to improve themselves. Some will, some won't. And that's just the way it goes. So the teams you think are going to be there won't, and the ones that you didn't think would be there, they're going to make some noise. One question I'm asking is, well, before I get into that, I tell you guys all the time that basketball is just something to do until football comes around. Basketball is just something to do until football comes back around. And a perfect example of that was on Sunday. Everybody's talking about the Super Bowl, but at 2 o'clock window, the ladies, Texas squared off with South Carolina. This was a top 10 matchup. I didn't know anything about it. I just found out that Texas upset South Carolina, and it was a great game. And ESPN is reporting that they got 1.3 million viewers. That's an awful lot, especially on the Super Bowl Sunday. So I give them credit for snagging away some of the football crowd. But at the same time, I think it was smart scheduling by those two teams and getting it on TV because, all these interviews and all the talking heads go all the way up to it's time to kick off, and you just get tired of that. It's just overload. So you give yourself a little bit of a break by watching something else. And in this case, a lot of people tuned into the South Carolina women's basketball game against Texas, which turned out to be an upset by the Longhorns. So everything worked out for those two institutions, ESPN and the conference. So having said that, back to football. Again, nobody really pays much attention to basketball, especially during football season. Now, you're almost forced to it if you are a heavy sports head. But free agency is going to come up. Then you're going to have your draft, and everybody's getting all excited about that. And one thing that's going on right now is that, that the Rams want to get rid of Cooper Kupp, and they're probably going to do that. And the question is, what will they do with Matthew Stafford? The idea is that they're probably going to end up trading him. And the talk is he could end up in Pittsburgh or he could end up with the Giants. I don't know why anybody in their right mind would want to go to the Giants right now. They can't seem to make the right decisions. They try to decide on whether they should keep Saquon Barkley or Daniel Jones. Well, they end up keeping Jones. They ship Barkley to solidify the Eagles, and then they end up cutting ties with Jones at the middle of the season. So, what was the point? You might as well have stuck with Jones at that point. And now you got an opportunity to get a free agent quarterback to come in and replace him. You're probably going to have to do that because a quarterback coming in after the draft is probably not going to have the same success rate as a Jaden Daniels. So free agency would be the way to fix that. But I don't know if Stafford will want to go there to play behind that line that they have at the Giants. However, it looks like Russell Wilson is going to sign with not Seattle, but the Raiders, and leaving Pittsburgh with an open window. Well, they still have Justin Fields, but the talk is that Stafford could wind up with Pittsburgh. Now, my immediate thought to that is strong arm quarterback. You were talking about changing the way the Steelers play. You didn't quite be clear about what he was saying there. But if they came back with the same style of play where you want to run the football and play great defense, play action pass, then Stafford would be a good fit there. He's not the mobile quarterback like Fields is. And that would be one question as to why you would bring in a Stafford. But the talk right now is having mobile quarterbacks. Since Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, all that talk about a running quarterback can't win is now out the window. So being that the NFL is a copycat league, everybody's going to run out and try to get a mobile quarterback. In essence, the drop back quarterback, the traditional style, he's pretty much dead. And that's what Stafford is. However, an enterprising coach might look at that as an opportunity to play more than one quarterback. You saw it once or twice last year when the Steelers pulled out Wilson and brought in Fields because of his ability to escape. Might have been a planned run, might not have been. But in any case, if it's not there, boom, take off. Get a first down. Saw the same thing with Philadelphia. Kansas City had it covered downfield. Boom, he take off. They didn't keep him in the pocket. Killed him. So a duo quarterback, if you can't have one quarterback that can do all of it, you can bring in a Stafford because he can help you, even with a Justin Fields. Now, I don't know if you would start a Fields over a Stafford. I don't know. But I think what they should do is open it up for competition if they were to get a quarterback like Stafford, because he is kind of old. He's been in the league, 17, 18 years now? So I don't know how long you're going to be able to hold Fields back going against these older quarterbacks. If they were to bring in a Stafford and Stafford was to beat them out, it won't be long before Fields will be trying to get out of Pittsburgh, especially with the success of Jalen Hurts. Everybody wants to run in quarterback now, and it's their opportunity to do something in Pittsburgh. They're talking about revamping their style of play. I don't know what they're going to do, but I do know one thing on defense. They better come up with a run defense to try to deal with Baltimore. We know what Baltimore is going to do. They usually have a good grip on them, but the offense hadn't been strong enough in the last 2 years to really be a threat, primarily because you don't have that great quarterback that can escape. But now I think Pittsburgh is probably going to have second thoughts about what they're going to do about that quarterback position. So if Stafford is traded, he might end up with the Giants before he goes to Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh, I think, would be a good spot because you can still use both quarterbacks and use them effectively. But you know what they always say, if you got two quarterbacks and you don't have one. But I don't think all that matters. All that matters is, can you win? And regardless of how you do it, nobody really cares. So if it was me, I'd play two quarterbacks. I have multiple packages for both of them, and it will be not discernible between the two. In other words, you can have a game plan for this quarterback and a game plan for that quarterback because they're so different. But you have to do it in a way that both quarterbacks can do some of the things the other guy does. That way the defense can easily pick up on how to defend that. But we'll see how that goes. Most people don't usually think like that, and that's why traditionally the NFL was predictable. When you get these running quarterbacks and you have everything else covered down the field and quarterback takes off and get out of the pocket, he's going to get 15, 20 yards. And that's a backbreaker for the defense. And it took a while for these teams to figure that thing out. But I still contend this. These running quarterbacks, at some point, you're going to have to stand in there and throw the football. Let's just say that Hurts, he couldn't escape the pocket the other day against Kansas City. He had to stand in there and throw it to win the game. Yes, he hit some good passes downfield. He played a great game. However, that is all built upon confidence. If you got a quarterback with a running game and he knows he's going to have time to throw the football, then he's going to have a lot more confidence as opposed to somebody getting beat up. Even the great Pat Mahomes, as great as he's been, when that pressure get on him, he started to look for it and took his concentration off downfield, which goes back to my other saying. I never met a quarterback who could throw off his back. And you saw that with Mahomes. As strong as his arm is, once they put him on his back, he was done. So Mahomes, he can run just enough to be effective. But the quarterbacks like Stafford, they're pretty much going out the window, man. I don't know. But the other news is taking place. I saw that the Saints made it official with Kellen Moore. It's been an open secret for a couple of weeks. They didn't feel their position because they feel like they want everybody to think that they were still interviewing candidates, but we all knew that they were waiting for the Eagles to do their run so they can hire Moore. Now, Moore was a quarterback at Boise State. Well, I remember him under Chris. I can't remember Chris' last name, but he's a pretty good quarterback, and you could tell he was bright, make the right checks, And then once his coaching career, football playing days with the Cowboys were over, he just moved right on into coaching, and he's improved from there. Now, he's the youngest coach now in the league at like 36, and a lot of people would bemoan that. But if you look over the history of young coaches in the NFL, they've actually done pretty well. If you go all the way back to Don Shula, he was like in his mid-30s when he took over the Colts. He took them to the championship. He had the best team in Super Bowl III, but the Jets got into their head and threw them off track. But they were actually the best team. He moved on to Miami. The Colts actually won it 2 years later in Super Bowl V against Dallas. And he went to Miami and he built that team that went undefeated in 72. So going all the way back to him, and you had Pete Carroll was a young coach. Sean McVay is the next one. Some of them have failed, like a Josh McDaniels. He's not a great head coach. He's a good offensive coordinator, but he's not a great head coach. And like I said, for the most part, these young coaches have done well. I can't see why Moore won't do well himself. And what he's going to be looking to do is duplicate the same kind of things he did in Philadelphia. So the question is, which running quarterback is he going to go after? Maybe the Saints try to put in a trade to get Justin Fields. I don't know. I don't think Pittsburgh would be dumb enough to get rid of him at this point, especially when you haven't given him a full chance to be effective for you. So he's going to have to find a quarterback in the draft. I'm not sure what order the Saints pick in. I'm sure it's in the top 6 or 7 picks. And with that, they may have a chance to get a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, but Shedeur Sanders is not a running quarterback. He can escape a little bit, but that's not his game. He's more on the line of a traditional drop back. And that's the drawback on him is because he can't escape. I saw those college guys chase him down, so you know those NFL guys are going to go get him. So I don't think the Saints will probably get him. But Cam Ward would be a great pick. But I don't think he's going to be there for the Saints to get. I think the Titans might grab him if they don't get the opportunity to get Travis Hunter. So it all depends on where Hunter goes, and after that, the dominoes begin to fall. We all talked about Sanders and Ward being the top 2 picks, but Jackson Dart moved himself up the board. However, Jalen Hurts' success in the Super Bowl might have knocked Dart right back to where he was before because he's more of a traditional passer. He can run a little bit, but he's going to have to change his game to where he runs a lot of bit. Otherwise, he probably won't get drafted in the first round. But it's exciting about these drafts. I mean, if you sit there and actually watch it, I don't know why you would want to do that. It's just easier to just get the report of who went where. But to follow the draft and see who gets what is interesting because these teams have always made some strange picks over the years, and I think this year is not going to be any different. So who knows? Somebody might pick up a Jackson Dart before the other 2 quarterbacks. I don't know. It just remains to be seen. But the age of the drop back quarterback is pretty much dead. And guys like Justin Fields are going to come up. And then you got guys that they're talking about putting as a different position like a Jalen Milroe. He's got a reprieve after what Hurts did. But I still think that Milroe should stay to school another year. He's just too inconsistent with the ball to make me think that somebody's going to grab him early on in the round. Maybe they'll pick him up as a free agent. Maybe it'll be a late round pick. I don't know. But even if he got on the roster for the practice, for the camp, then I think he's going to struggle. So what I'm looking at, if he makes a team, he might end up on the practice squad somewhere. But his legs might be the one thing that make the difference for him. But he's going to have to throw the football. Another thing that ties him to Hurts wasn't that great of a passer coming out of college. He's about like Milroe, but he's a little bit more consistent than Milroe, maybe a little bit more accurate. Hurts worked on his game to become the passer that he is now, and that's what Milroe is going to have to do if he has any hope of playing in the NFL. But right now, the kid's just too inconsistent, and I think he should have went on back to college and made a couple more million, and then it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. But the question is, what's Steelers be a good fit for Matthew Stafford? So I put a poll question out there, and right now 75% of you says yes. Baby Yoda 6887 says hi. How you doing? I can see Stafford playing for the Steelers in that style of play that they have. Control the ball with the running game, play good defense, don't turn it over. He's got the strong arm and get it downfield. So what you want to do is go get a receiver that you can throw it to. Pickens, I'm not sure if he's consistent enough to be that number one receiver that you really like. And he had a long line of them in Pittsburgh over the years, and I'm not sure that Pickens is quite there yet. Now, he can make some plays for you, but consistently, I don't think he's very consistent enough to be a number one. Now, I will put him at a number two and go find me a number one, and then that might make a difference with Pickens. But, just like all these other teams, when you develop a guy and he gets to the point where he's doing great, he becomes a free agent. Now he wants to get paid. Can't blame the guy, but all you're doing is building up players for somebody else to get. So you have to try to get as much as you can out of these guys while you have them. So that's just my take on that. But Kellen Moore, he should do a great job in New Orleans. The key is getting off to a fast start. And with them, he's going to have to find a quarterback. And I don't know if there's any free agent quarterbacks out there for him to get. But I do know this. It's about this much difference between the worst team in the league and the best team in the league. All it takes is a guard here or a receiver there. Whatever your team is missing, you can find that in a draft or a free agent slot. So it's just a matter of getting the right pick and getting lucky with it. And hopefully they stay healthy. But speaking of health, they had that big monster trade in the NBA with Doncic and Anthony Davis. I said that I would not have traded for Davis because to me, Davis is like glass. Doncic had his health troubles lately. I think he had a calf. But now, lo and behold, Anthony Davis come out red hot with the Mavericks, and then he gets hurt. It had been a week or played a full game with the Mavericks, and he's hurt already. This is the reason why you don't take a 31-year-old guy like Davis with a history of injuries and trade him for a 25-year-old guy that has marginal issues at best. He can get upset and start barking at the referees and all of that. But with a guy like LeBron James, he can calm him down because he's going to respect him enough to do that. But Davis, he wasn't happy in L.A. because he didn't want to play the center position. Well, what difference does it make if you're on the floor, man? It's not a whole lot of difference between a forward and a center. You might not post up as much, but I've seen guards post up down low. So I don't understand the complaint there. But the biggest problem I have, and the obvious thing, is that the guy's injury prone. So what do the Mavericks expect to do if this guy gets hurt? He gets to the playoffs, he gets hurt again. He's useless. He's great when he's healthy, but when he's not, what do you have? And the Mavericks, they're finding that out. And that GM is sweating bullets because he just knew that with Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson bringing in Davis, he's got a team that can make a run in the playoffs now. I still don't think they can play with Oklahoma City, but Oklahoma City at the same time has got a history of choking. So why not see them choke again against the Mavericks? We go back to the finals, man, because we know OKC, they just don't have the heart. Some teams just, I don't care how good they are in the regular season, they just can't do it, man. And I say the same thing about the Baltimore Ravens. They just can't do it when the lights are the brightest. And OKC, until they get over that hump, that's the image that people have of them. This is why the GM for Dallas made the trade. But he traded a brand new Maserati for a 97 Chevy. Who makes that kind of trade, man? So his whole reputation is on the line. And right now, Davis got him looking bad. So Davis, you got to hurry up and get patched up. You better put some Scotch tape on him and wrap it up in some masking tape, and maybe that'll hold. If you got to get him out there on the floor, that's the only way you can make yourself look good. But otherwise, if they end up folding and don't go very far, that GM, he's going to be on the trading block himself. And I don't know who's going pick up a guy like that who's bold enough to make those kind of dumb moves. Even if the Mavericks do make a good run, I still don't think you trade a young star like Doncic for a player with a history of injuries. But one thing I would say, immediately it looks like a loss to Doncic because he was due a $345 million contract extension in the summer. He's no longer eligible for that Supermax contract. I don't know how the rules work in the NBA, but he's not eligible. But he will be a free agent at the end of next season. So if he goes and he takes the Lakers deep and he does the things that they want to see out there in LA when his contract comes up, even if the Lakers don't want to pay him, somebody's going to pay him that contract that's going to be worth far more than that $345 million. Remember, they got that TV deal that's supposed to pump in all this extreme amount of money, which they're talking about. There's going to be a player that signed a deal for $1 billion contract. Well, if he's 25 and he's looking at $345 million before that money kicks in, you just have to know that he might just be the one to get that $1 billion contract. Sign him to $100 million a year over a 10-year period. Probably won't play that long, but then again, who thought LeBron would play that long? Anything's possible now. They patch you up, give you some fake body parts, and they can get you to play, man. And with the diets these guys are discovering, putting all that fast food and garbage down, it makes a difference. And with the money he's making, he can go hire the best trainers and nutritionists and chefs and all that to keep him ready to play. It's just a matter is, will he do it? But you know, a lot of people, you take a guy like lottery winners, they win these extreme amounts of money and they blow it. You have to give these pro guys credit because even though they do a lot of dumb stuff with their money, rarely do they go immediately broke. Now, a couple of years after they retire, they may go broke because they made bad decisions. But with the kind of money that they're making now, nobody should go broke after they stop playing. My contention on that is, if you do go broke, then you ought to be broke because there's no reason for you to be broke. JR, he says Matthew Stafford going to the Jets or Saints. I don't know if he's going to be with the Saints. Kellen Moore is used to a running quarterback, and I just don't see him going there. Pittsburgh, with Russell Wilson going to the Raiders, they're going to need another veteran quarterback to put out there to put a little pressure on Justin Fields. But the only thing that's drawing back now is popularity. You know, NFL is a monkey see, monkey do league. You did it, so I got to go do it too. Hurts has made that running quarterback. This is what it is now. Stafford can't do it. He's old and on the way out. They're going to be looking for quarterbacks like that to take them because it opens up so many things. With a traditional drop back quarterback, if it's not there, they're going to run around in circles and the defenders are going to chase him down. Look at Mahomes. The Eagles chased him down and beat him up. But Fields, when they had it covered, the Chiefs had it covered, what did he do? He escaped and ran up and got 15, 20 yards a lot of times. That is a killer for the defense. And the drop back quarterback, traditional, he can't do that. Now, some of them do have the speed to do it, but they're so conditioned to do certain things in the pocket that they're not even trying to look, they're not even trying to run. And those days are over. And if you want to be a pro quarterback, you're going to have to be able to run the football now. But I think that with the change there, what also opens those running quarterbacks up, it brings their traditional running back in favor. You know, everybody talking about they didn't need a traditional running back because they don't just why pay a running back all this money when it's a throw league? Well, if you got a good running back, it opens everything else up. So guys like Barkley and Derrick Henry, they're letting the league know that you can't just X this position out, and kind of like what they did with the fullback. But the fullback is going to come back because you need somebody to lead him up in that hole. But if you don't use a fullback, you make that tight end H-back and have him lead up in the hole. But the only thing is he quick enough to get out of the way? That's why you need that traditional fullback. So football, much as it's changed, it's going to come back full circle to where everything is like what you're more used to, except for the running quarterback. People are going to look for that to the future until something else comes along. but I don't know. But I just want to come on in a few minutes to talk about the possibility of Stafford going to Pittsburgh. According to this little poll, 50-50 of you think that he would be a good fit with the Steelers. It's just a matter of what the Steelers are thinking concerning Justin Fields. But Stafford is going to be all right either way, even if he never plays another down. He's had a great career. Time for him to sail off into the sunset anyway. Kellen Moore, he's going to do a great job in New Orleans. But the question is, who is he going to get to run that offense for him? If he gets a quarterback like a Jaden Daniels, and by the way, what I mean by that is a quarterback that is running that kind of system, if you could transfer that directly over to the NFL, kind of like what Washington did with Daniels, where he doesn't have to change or learn a whole new scheme, then he will progress faster. So if anything to learn from Daniels this year, that's what it is. Get a quarterback out of college that's running a system, transfer that system to the NFL for that particular team, surround him with a few guys that can do what he's doing, and then you'll have a team that can produce immediately. But those are just my thoughts. But anyway, I got to go to work, man. I appreciate you guys chiming in with me wherever you are in the world. I hope you have a great day. In the meantime, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the morning with another Sports Bite. This is Coach Hall, Sports for Real. Until next time, I'm out. Have a great day.